Is honey vegan? Round 2. Hello, I'm Griff Rees, welcome to Winning Griffith. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living, how we do reviews as well. Now, we have covered this topic before. It was around 3 years ago and my camera skills wasn't the best, and the camera I had back in those days wasn't the best either, so I just want to dive into this topic again today and maybe cover it a little bit better than I did last time. So I was talking to a person this week who's just turned vegan, and she asked me, is honey vegan? And I said that's a very good question. It is something I've covered before, but let me talk to you why I think honey is vegan, and then you can tell me if you agree with me or not. So I had that conversation this week, and quite a good one. And I just want to point out at the start of this video, this isn't going to be a video putting fuel on the fire. I've got nothing against people who are vegans, vegetarians. It is a free world. People can do whatever they want, and if they only want to eat a certain type of food, then there is nothing wrong with that. But I feel that honey is this food source in the middle between plants and meat or animal products. It genuinely sits in the middle, and it can be a bit confusing. So I just want to highlight some topics, because if you were to compare honey to milk, you don't kill the cow to produce milk, but once that cow gets old, then that cow will go into the food chain. So, you know, you could argue, well, if I drink milk, I'm supporting the killing of that animal later on. Honey production, very, very much different. Even though it is an animal product, it's a totally different food category altogether, and it deserves a second chance at being vegan, or being mainstream vegan. And that's what I want to try and cover in this video. So the biggest thing some people say is, honey can't be vegan because you kill bees to produce honey. Well, that's not true at all. Bees are worth a lot of money, so it's the last thing we want to do as bee farmers is kill our bees to take the honey crop off. That is not done. I don't know anyone on earth that does that. They'd be out of business if you were to kill your bees to take all the honey off. It just doesn't make sense. We've got modern hives in the Western world. The last thing we need to do is kill hives. You've got special hives, you've got divider boards you can put in, we can filter the bees through, we can take boxes off, totally empty your bees. And if you don't believe me, I'll put in the description videos of me taking honey off and not killing any bees, so you can see how bee farmers take their honey crop off. So that's false. We don't kill bees to take the honey off at all. In fact, we do everything we can to protect the health, welfare and the condition of our bees. We spend a lot of money doing that. Number 2 is people say you steal all the honey and just give the bees sugar syrup. Well, that's not true either. You've taken a little bit of the truth and you've run with a false narrative there. So let me explain to you how it's done. So this year has been a very good year for honey. We've produced quite a bit of honey, probably more honey than I've produced ever in a season this year. And because off the back of that, I haven't had to feed my bees hardly nothing really, just because they're full of honey. Now, if I take you around the back here, I actually own a beekeeping shop as well. If you look at this hive, that's called the brood box. It's the big box at the bottom of the hive. That's where the queen lives, that's where the bees are, that's where all the brood lives. Above that then, we've got a queen excluder. It's a mesh. Worker bees can fit through it, but the queen can't. So from that piece of queen excluder up, it's only honey. No bees, no brood, nothing, just honey. Now, for the bees to survive the winter, they only need that bottom brood box full of honey. They don't need anything extra. We never take honey from the brood box. For a few reasons, really. Down there, we've got all bees, brood, which we don't want all that stuff contaminated with honey. Who wants, bugs and insects and grubs and, bee juice in their honey? So we don't take any honey from the brood box. That is left entirely for the bees. Now, this is where the false narrative in. You may see beekeepers, you may see me feeding bees. Now, what does happen or can happen, if the year isn't that good, you take the honey crop off what's there on the top, and then the weather turns really bad and the bees can't really backfill the rest of the brood box up, then they may need a little bit of supplementary feeding, and we do give that feed then. Some years are so bad you don't get honey, and then you've just got to feed the bees loads just to keep them alive. So, bees have got the best of both worlds, really. They've got a nice box to live in, and when they need feeding, we feed them. Or if the season's been horrendous, they've got no food at all, then the beekeeper has got their back, and we make sure they've got enough food for the winter. So that's where that narrative comes in. And again, we're a business. We're in this to produce an income and to make profit. We don't want to feed bees sugar syrup if you can help it. If they can produce their own honey at no cost to me, feed themselves, then, that's a winner for everybody. So we definitely don't take all the honey and just feed them sugar syrup. That's not true at all either. So let's dive into why I think honey should be classed or be okay for vegans to eat, even though technically it is still an animal product. Now, if you look at the production of vegan food or, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, etc., beekeepers and bee farmers and honeybees play an absolutely crucial part of that farming cycle in producing that food. You can't go to any big grower that doesn't put honeybees en masse on their farm, because they need that pollination. It's proven that when you take honeybees to crops, fruit, vegetables, seeds, nuts, vegan food, that kind of thing, that they can produce up to 40% more food just by having the bees there pollinating. Now, you could argue,
well, there's flies and insects and, bumblebees and wasps, etc. They'll pollinate the crops. We don't need honeybees.
Nothing pollinates as good and as efficient as honeybees. And if you want to produce a huge amount of vegan friendly food for the market, for the vast world, then that's the only way you can do it is with honeybees. Honeybees, they need to pollinate those crops. So, to produce vegan food, honeybees, they have to be there. That's the truth of the matter. If farmers didn't use honeybees, then it wouldn't be economically viable for them to grow those crops. They wouldn't have nothing to sell, basically. So again, bees are being used in vegan food anyway. Why not use the honey that's produced off the back end of producing vegan food? Because that's what happens. The bees fly. They fly, say, for example, we're talking apples. They fly to the apple tree. They suck nectar out of the apple tree. They pollinate it. They come back. They turn turn the nectar into honey, and then we've got honey. So why not use that? The bee is there helping to produce vegan food regardless. And from the vegans I know, and turns out I know a fair few vegans, because they buy honey with me and they tell me I'm a vegan, but I do eat honey. I do believe honey is okay to eat. And if you don't eat honey, your body's losing out massively. Honey is really, really good for you. The food source is so important. We've been eating honey since the beginning of time, basically. The human body has adapted very, very well to digest and absorb all the nutrients and the trace elements in honey. And I'd say it's almost crucial if you are vegan, because you've got to be very careful of the food source you eat, especially if you're not eating animal byproduct. You've got to be pretty keen on the vitamins and making sure you're getting your trace elements, amino acids, etc. from other places, where a lot of it is in honey. Honey has got pollen in it, which is very high in protein. Not saying honey's high in protein, but pollen is going to be in the honey. There's going to be trace elements in there. And just, honey's full of, vitamins, trace elements, all the stuff that the body needs. You can digest that from honey. And it is a natural source of sugar. It's not refined in any way. It is natural. The body will digest and break down honey totally different to the way it would break down refined sugar. So if you were thinking, well, I'm going to eat a fake honey or golden syrup instead of honey, that's going to be very, very bad for the body compared to if you were to be eating honey. And if you look at what honey was used originally for, it was a medicinal product. It was the first medicine ever used. That's how important honey is to the human body. And even this day, if you were to get burnt really bad, end up in hospital, they would actually put a honey-laced bandage around you, because honey is antiseptic, antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral. And some honey can even kill MRSA. Now, what's not to love about that? And it's totally natural. We've got that natural product. You don't need to go to big pharmaceutical companies to buy, a tablet that apparently cures you, but then you've got to take all the time. This is a totally natural product which we can get access to, and we don't hurt the bees in the process. It's a no-brainer if you ask me. So, finish this off. Here is the truth, and it is the truth that some vegans they don't want to listen to, but I'm going to say. So let's look at beekeeping. We don't kill bees to produce honey, but unfortunately some bees do get killed in the process. The odd bee will get crushed, the odd bee will get stuck in the pickup. So it's wrong for me to say that no bee ever dies from bee farming, because it's not true. You are going to get the odd casualty, but we are probably talking less than 0.1% of the bees. There's 70,000 bees in one beehive. We're killing a handful in a year per hive. That's the worst case scenario. So that's how much bees actually get killed in the process of honey making. But you might say,
well, there, Griff, you've killed a handful of bees per hive. That is no good. I class that as non-vegan.
But here's the truth. I kill more insects driving my car around the countryside than I do with 200 plus beehives. Okay, and that's the truth. You drive your car in the summer and you look at the bonnet. There are thousands of dead bees, bugs, flies, wasps, all kinds of insects just on your bonnet. So driving is pretty detrimental if you're an insect. Work out all the cars on the road, we're probably killing billions and billions and billions of insects every day just by all these cars, buses, trains, planes, flying and driving around here. So I would argue that driving a car is less vegan than bee farming. I would argue that jumping on a plane with those big jet engines, they suck up all the birds, anything that's flying around in the vicinity, that will suck it up through those jet engines and, kill them instantly. So I reckon, flying a plane is probably less vegan than bee farming. And the truth is, if you ever see a field being ploughed in the countryside, and you see all the crows and the seagulls, they follow the tractor, and you've got to plough the fields to produce any kinds of, vegetables within the field. You've got to turn that earth. But what actually happens is, what you can't see, you're actually killing every single bug, mammal, every mouse, every frog, every worm, every beetle, every slug, every snail in that field when you're ploughing it. Because even though if the plough doesn't kill it, all the birds following the tractor is going to eat what's left and kill what's left. So, the truth is, you can't produce food without causing some kind of, animal death, whether it's insects, small animals, or, large animals. That's the hard reality of it, we're a lot of people on the earth, and it is basically impossible to produce any kind of food where, you don't harm, an insect or some kind of animal. But looking at the big picture, I would class bee farming and honey production with the lowest category of animal death or insect death, or whichever way you want to look at it, within the whole of the amount of food that we produce. It is definitely the less cruel way of producing food. 100%. We don't plough nothing. We don't kill nothing. It is just literally man and nature outside working in harmony together. The honeybee benefits from it, and we as humans benefit from it as well. And that's it. That's my my view on it. So I'm a proper bee farmer. And that's my view on it. Whether you agree with me or not, let me know in the comments. I'd love to find out what you guys think. And the big question is honey vegan? Should vegans be allowed to eat it? And I think absolutely 100% yes, because it's less cruel than vegan food. And that's the hard reality, and that's the hard truth of it. Even if you were to grow food, no dig, in the big polytunnel, that food is going to cost a lot of money. And if you were to go down on producing that kind of food en masse, then half the earth would be covered in plastic with big suction fans stopping any kind of animal going in it. I'm a keen gardener. I know how hard it is growing food organic. We do grow food organic every year. We grow our own potatoes, carrots, tomatoes, and I tell you, it is rock hard. It's one of the hardest things that I've done is grow food outside naturally, organically. Every caterpillar, every slug, even moles, rats, songbirds, crows, jays, everything wants to eat your food. No, I don't kill them. You know, we just put nets and everything down to stop that happening. But the other argument is that healthy for the environment, using all this plastic covering the earth so that we don't actually kill any animals in the production of it. Insects will always find their way through though, but you know, that's another topic and another debate. So that's the end of this video. Hopefully you found it insightful, and maybe I've opened your eyes up to farming practices and, you know, more importantly, beekeeping practices. And if you are vegan, next time you see a jar of honey, do think twice about it. Think back to this video, and maybe it is okay for you to enjoy that delicious, nutritious jar of honey. Thanks for watching the video.